welcome back to Travel in Chinese. My name is Mark Rosewell, also known as Da Shan. Well, in this series, we're learning language that's not just for traveling. I'm sure if you're a beginner or intermediate or an advanced learner of Chinese, you'll be able to pick up something from our language lesson that can be used in a wide variety of situations. And don't worry if we go a little bit too quickly the first time through. There'll be lots of opportunity to review later on. In our last episode, we were in the beautiful city of Hangzhou, and that's where we are again today. Today we're going to do one of those must-do things when you visit Hangzhou. That's to go and try some of the local teas that this region is famous for. Let's take a look at the dialogue.
怎么样，二位？这一趟西湖游下来，感觉还不错吧？
是挺不错的，尤其是湖边的景色，真是秀丽宜人。可惜啊，这次行程太紧了，不能在杭州多待几天。这么美的景色，真应该坐下来好好欣赏一下。
谁说我们不能坐下来好好欣赏？我带你们去一个地方，走。
欢迎光临，欢迎光临，
谢谢。你们看就是这里了，咱们进去边品茶边看风景怎么样？
好啊，正好我老公还让我买点好的龙井茶带回去呢。
那还等什么？咱们赶紧进去吧。
好，走。
走。
今天三位喝点什么？给我们拿3杯龙井茶吧。谢谢，稍等。三位请慢用，谢谢。真香啊！这是我喝过的最好的龙井。雪梅，味道怎么样？很好喝。西湖的龙井是不是很有名？可不是。在明代的时候啊，龙井茶就已经成为茶中的上品了，算起来有好几百年历史了吧？
你知道吗，雪梅？中国古代有的诗人把龙井称为黄金牙呢，可见龙井有多受人们欢迎。
龙井是个地名吗？
这个问题比较复杂，有说是井名，有说是村名和寺名的。
那什么样的茶才算是好的龙井茶呢？
我听说龙井茶按采摘的季节，大致可以分为春茶、二茶和三茶。春茶产量少，所以特别珍贵，你说是吧？
是这样的，茶叶的采摘季节固然重要，不过龙井的品质和茶叶的形状、色泽也有很大关系。上好的龙井应该是色绿、香郁、味纯、形美。
你们看，这茶叶都是一根根竖着，真有意思啊！
我看这儿的服务员还可以进行茶艺表演呢，我们也再看看来吧。
好。
Okay, now let's go back over the dialogue part by part. This has been a great trip to Hangzhou. The measure word for trip is tang. 这一趟, this trip. 这一趟游下来, after traveling on this trip. The highlight has been the scenery around West Lake, Xihu, which is described as 秀丽宜人. 秀丽 is beautiful or handsome, like 美丽, but 秀 means elegant or beautiful. 秀丽. Yi means happy or joyful, cheerful. Here it's used to mean pleasing or to bring joy. 宜人, it makes you feel pleasant. The most famous tea of this area is called Longjing Cha, literally dragon well tea. It's a form of green tea, but as this is a special Chinese tea, in English we usually just call it Longjing tea. They can hardly wait to try some. 赶紧进去吧. Let's go in. What are we waiting for?
怎么样，二位？这一趟西湖游下来，感觉还不错吧？
是挺不错的，尤其是湖边的景色，真是秀丽宜人。可惜啊，这次行程太紧了，不能在杭州多待几天。这么美的景色，真应该坐下来好好欣赏一下。
谁说我们不能坐下来好好欣赏？我带你们去一个地方，走。好。 谢谢。你们看就是这里了，咱们进去边品茶边看风景怎么样？
好啊，正好我老公还让我买点好的龙井茶带回去呢。
那还等什么？咱们赶紧进去吧。
好，走。
走。
Xiang means fragrant, but it's also used to describe taste as well as the sense of smell. After all, the two senses are closely linked. 真香，好喝. It smells nice and it tastes good. Now, since the Ming Dynasty hundreds of years ago, Longjing tea has been considered one of the best Chinese teas. Shangpin, one of the best products. Now, cipin is the word used to describe the opposite, a defective or a second-class product, cipin. Poets have even described Longjing tea as 黄金芽, gold sprouts, since the tea is made from the freshest tea leaves. 可见 means that you can see from this. This shows that. 可见龙井茶有多受人欢迎. It shows you how well received Longjing tea is.
今天下面喝点什么？给我们拿3杯龙井茶吧。谢谢，稍等。下位请慢用，谢谢。真香啊！这是我喝过的最好的龙井。雪梅，味道怎么样？
很好喝。西湖的龙井是不是很有名？
可不是，在明代的时候啊，龙井茶就已经成为茶中的上品了，算起来有好几百年历史了吧？
你知道吗，雪梅？中国古代有的诗人把龙井称为黄金芽呢，可见龙井有多受人们欢迎。
Well, where did the name Dragon Well tea come from? There are several different theories. 有说是景明, some say it was the name of a well. Others say it was 寺名, the name of a temple, or even 村名, the name of a village. Somewhat like with wine, the quality of the tea depends a lot on when the tea is harvested. 春茶, the first tea of spring, yields the smallest quantity but the most precious teas. 特别珍贵, especially precious. 二茶 and 三茶 would be, respectively, the second and third harvest of each year. Now, each time they usually just break off the tips of the tea leaves, or the freshest leaves, leaving the other leaves to grow in.
龙井是个地名吗？
这个问题比较复杂，有说是景名，有说是村名和寺名的。
那什么样的茶才算是好的龙井茶呢？
我听说龙井茶按采摘的季节，大致可以分为春茶、二茶和三茶。春茶产量少，所以特别珍贵。你说是吧？
Now, one of the ways you can tell a good Longjing tea is by the way the tea leaves stand up at the bottom of a cup or glass. 一根根竖着, they stand vertical one by one. Drinking fine teas should be an event, and one of the best ways to enjoy tea is through the tea ceremony, 茶艺表演. Let's watch that part again.
茶叶的采摘季节固然重要，不过龙井的品质和茶叶的形状、色泽也有很大关系。上好的龙井应该是色绿、香郁、味醇、形美。
你们看，这茶叶都是一根根竖着，真有意思啊！
我看这儿的服务员还可以进行茶艺表演呢，我们也带他们来吧。
好。
Now, why don't we take a little bit of a break from our lesson and talk about the subject of tea? Well, it can be said that tea is the most popular beverage in the world, apart from just plain water. And China is the homeland of tea. They've been drinking tea in China for many thousands of years, and human cultivation of tea plants dates back over 2,000 years in China. In fact, all other teas in other countries have their origin directly or indirectly in China. Even the word tea in many languages around the world comes from different variations of the Chinese word cha. Chinese tea can be classified into 5 categories. Green tea, 绿茶, which is what I'm having now, is perhaps the most natural, with no fermentation or processing of the leaves. Longjing, Maofeng, and Biluochun are the most famous varieties. Black tea, which is known in China as hongcha, or red tea, is fermented before being baked. This is the kind of tea most commonly consumed in the West. Oolong tea is a variety halfway between green tea and black teas, being made after partial fermentation. It is a specialty of southeast China, particularly of Fujian, Guangdong, and Taiwan. Now, compressed tea is another kind. These are teas that have been, of course, compressed and hardened into a certain shape. These are often called brick tea, 砖茶, We'll learn a little bit more about this later when we visit Inner Mongolia. Finally, we have scented tea, hua cha. This kind of tea is made by mixing flowers or other fragrances in with the tea. Jasmine tea is perhaps the most famous. Tea has been one of the daily necessities in China for thousands of years and is spread to be enjoyed by peoples all around the world. Now let's take a closer look at some of the language points from today's dialogue. For example, 大致 meaning approximately or roughly. 这两家饭店的房价差别不大，大致相同. There isn't a large difference in the room price between these two hotels. It's roughly the same. 这两家饭店的房价差别不大，大致相同. Here's another example. 从这儿去故宫，坐车大致需要1个小时左右. From here to the Imperial Palace, by bus it takes about an hour. 从这儿去故宫，坐车大致需要1个小时左右. Okay, back to the dialogue now and see how they use this language pattern.
我听说龙井茶按采摘的季节，大致可以分为春茶、二茶和三茶。
Here's another language point, 可见 meaning you can see or it's apparent. For example, 才走了10分钟的路，他就走不动了。可见他平时缺乏锻炼。He was exhausted after only walking for 10 minutes. You can tell that he doesn't get enough exercise or that he's out of shape. 才走了10分钟的路，他就走不动了。可见他平时缺乏锻炼。Here's another example. 他转身就把我告诉他的事情给忘了。可见他刚才根本没注意听。He forgot what I told him almost immediately. You can tell that he wasn't even paying attention. 他转身就把我告诉他的事情给忘了，可见他刚才根本没注意听。
你知道吗，雪梅？中国古代有的诗人把龙井称为黄金牙呢，可见龙井有多受人们欢迎。
Now let's do a substitution exercise with a pattern that came up in today's dialogue. That's the pattern 固然 something 也 something else. This is used to confirm the first thing, but then expand on that. For example, there's an old saying, 大米白面固然好，高粱玉米也不错. Literally means rice and flour are good, but sorghum and corn are not bad either. 大米白面固然好，高粱玉米也不错. Now let's try a substitution with this 固然 something 也.
考上了固然好，考不好也别灰心。
考上了固然好，考不好也别灰心。
工作固然很忙，可也别忘了锻炼身体。
工作固然很忙，可也别忘了锻炼身体。
Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. In the last few episodes, you'll see that we've been in the Yangtze River Delta area around Suzhou and Hangzhou. This is an area known for its lakes and canals, its seafood and silks and teas. Well, next time we're going to take a big leap up north to the great desert and grassland plains of Inner Mongolia, homeland of Genghis Khan and his grandson Kublai Khan. It's quite a leap, but it really shows you something of the diversity of China. So don't miss that episode. We'll see you back here on Traveling Chinese. Until then, 再见.